Hello, folks. This is Steve, AB4Yell. Nothing in this episode is a promotion, nor is it a recommendation. I started a little something I want to show you. Oh, by the way, I have the window open. It's kind of drizzling a little bit, but I made the decision about 2 hours ago that I would go to Riverside Park and climb my Faith Rock Trail thing for my heart health. It was just sprinkling a little bit. I didn't get wet. Something I learned years ago. If it's raining where you are, that doesn't mean it's raining where you're going to go. So anyway, I was looking at this. We have nice clear air here. Partly because it's raining. FAA grounds all flights at New York City's LaGuardia due to Canadian wildfire smoke as Blade Runner-esque scenes. I like that movie so much. Blanket East Coast. Well, I'm on the East Coast, but I'm in North Carolina. But I clicked on the article. New York City. Today is, Wednesday. New York City, Monday. New York City, Wednesday, today. I worked in the Mexico City area, 91 into 92. I've said this in other episodes in the past. Mexico City's in a crater, kind of, bowl where the surrounding rims, volcanic peaks, are another up to 3,000 feet, and Mexico City's at 10,000 feet. So it had a air pollution problem. You think, I've never been to Los Angeles. You think Los Angeles was bad. They had oil refineries on the outskirts of Mexico City. You know, Mexico is an oil producing country, and they were still piping raw petroleum up to Mexico City and refining it there. That wasn't the only place they were refining. But the point is, looking at this, the air pollution index that was being published in the newspaper every day, it turned out, as people suspected, to be fake. It never seemed to go up to the danger to human life value. And then suddenly the president of Mexico signed a unilateral decree without asking anybody and told the military to close the refineries in Mexico City, lock the gates, they're finished forever. Didn't bother to ask the legislature or anybody, because apparently they were telling him the truth about what was going on. Bravo to that president. I was there. So this picture, but the reason why it's come to mind is I've just had an email exchange with a friend for a long time that lives in Massachusetts. And when I saw this picture, I went to, like WRAL is the largest TV station in North Carolina. There are other TV stations, but WRAL was like the beginning, and it just covers like the eastern half of North Carolina. Well, western part of Massachusetts is WWLP. It was, I don't even remember, it was the first UHF station anywhere. Oh, people don't even know what that is now, right? With satellites and cable and all that. The other big one I remember was WTIC. I remember when I was living in the Philadelphia area, sometimes on the VHF channels, when propagation was right, you could actually see. I once saw Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's WTIC. Hang on. WTIC TV news. Fox 61. Wait a minute. WTIC TV, just TV. Excuse me, mind's wandering. Connecticut News and Weather from Fox 61, Hartford, Connecticut. Exactly. Okay. Can you imagine seeing a flutter of their signal in Philadelphia from Connecticut? I'm a ham radio operator since I was 14 years old. That's the kind of thing that I used to sit in my car in Raleigh when the 10-meter band was open, 28 megahertz, and talk to Israel on one side and Japan on the other, running like 60 watts, the radio I have now. So, smoke across Massachusetts causes air quality alert. You can see the picture, can't you? So it looks like all right. WTIC would be right in the middle of Connecticut. You know which one's Connecticut, don't you? This one right here? You know that, don't you? But my friend lives in this part of Massachusetts, so he said to me that yesterday it was getting cold. I can remember times in the past when there would be forest fires. I don't know where the fires are in Connecticut. Excuse me, Canada. Hang on. Where is the jet stream today? Okay. If the fires are up in here, then the smoke is trapped in this whirlpool. And this prevents it from getting down to us, because here's North Carolina. Where are the Canadian fires? I don't know the answer to that. Where are the Canadian wildfires now? Yeah, oh, right there. It isn't going to show me the picture? Open image in new tab. Oh, eh. This is, okay. Can you see Can you see this part here? Even though this is a crap picture, can you see that it's the same as this? Did you see it? Oh, but I'm just boring you. You know about those things, right? Anyway, I started looking back, whoever that guy is. I was looking first at that, and then I went back to their main news page, and I was scrolling down. I'm just wondering what kind of things go on there compared to here. See, my mind's wandering. Springfield police arrest woman in suspicious vehicle. Two bodies found in Union Street apartment in Springfield. That sounds more like Raleigh. So then, as I'm looking at it, the risk of flying in Massachusetts through smoky air, smoke from Canadian wildfires impacting hospitals, how bad is breathing in wildfire smoke? With smoke from Canada fires, is it safe to go out? And then there was an article somewhere in here where it said, now this is how my mind jumps around. It said this. This has caught my eye. Florence Road in Northampton closed due to downed wires. Remember the end of August? Out here we had a big storm come, and I'm in like a little tornado alley right here. And a tree at the edge of the property fell over, and there's a 3-wire main transmission that follows 64, and it broke all 3 of them. And then I didn't have power for 2 days, or 2.5 days, and then they had to send, after they got that strung back up. I was amazed in just a couple of hours. But then I didn't have electricity because the wires going across the street, which were old 3 separate wires, the billboard over here got torn down and was shorting it out, so everybody else got it, but the circuit breaker for my little circuit wouldn't work. And then they finally sent somebody here, and they just cut those wires and put some new ones across. And so that's why I was interested. And here's the picture. And it isn't a tree. It's a power pole. But the thing is, the article didn't say that it got hit by anything. It said it fell over. Now, the tree out here, which was maybe 80 years old, and the one that's what's still left. See, a lot of big branches got broken off in that storm, and then they came and they cut everything. I made a video about that. I can understand a tree in water-sogged embankment after heavy rains and high winds, like 80 miles an hour, falling over and taking down power lines. But why would a telephone, I call it telephone pole, why would a power pole go over like that? That's a picture of it. See, the lower ones that are, I don't understand. There's lines up here, there's lines up there, But this has got 3 on there, but this only has 2 up there. So I'm not really understanding what's going on. I can see a power transformer. I can see a street light here. This pole doesn't have a street light. And I'm interested in this stuff because they've been renewing all the ones along here. I made videos about that. So I thought, see this WAS thing here? Search for an address. You know where the WAS came from? Israel. Some guys in Israel. They made a lot of money off of it, selling it to somebody big here in the States. Remember I did a video about that? I do videos about everything. So it said, a portion of Florence Road in Northampton is closed after an electrical pole fell with live wires on Wednesday afternoon. So that's a few hours ago. All the traffic from, then it names the streets, roads, whatever. Mountain Laurel Path to Burke's Pit Road. Now this is why I like the search engine and Street View. Mountain Laurel Lane, North Carolina, 27205. According to that, there's a Mountain Laurel. Oh, I think it's right over here. Oh, I'm curious now. See what. Oh, look at what it did. Oh, I love this. From Mountain Laurel Lane, North Carolina, 27205. That's my zip. It's a rural area outside of Asheboro. To Burt's Pit Road, Northampton. Do you think that the AI did that and it's learning the job? It said I can get from Laurel. Oh, this is beautiful. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Oh, this is beautiful. Hang on. I want to see where it is. There's the zoo. And it's just a little near Ula, south of Asheboro. There's a rural fire station in Ula. So it thinks that when I gave it that pair, the genius behind the search engine router, see, this is 220. See, that's where Mountain Laurel Lane is. There's Ula. There's the bypass. And then we're going, there's Substation Road. Then we're going past where I live. Now, hang on. So we go all the way up here to get the other end to see the road. Okay? So it knows where Burt's Pit Road. I wonder why it's called Burt's Pit. Do you think it was mining at one time? Hang on, we're going to find it. Isn't the search engine and stuff like that terrific? It can be so. Here's Burt's Pit Road. Here's Florence Road. Okay, that's they said Florence Road was where it was. So there's Burt. That's one corner. Now, which way is it to the other one? High Meadow Road, not that way. Birch Pit, Mountain Laurel Path. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Now I'm catching the computer out. Mountain Laurel Lane, it changed path to lane. See, that AI is just, you can't trust it. It just makes stuff up as it goes. Just makes stuff up as it goes. It didn't know that those two streets are close to each other. It just assumed I was going to do a road trip, so I'm the one that's stupid, and the computer's the one that's brilliant. Think about it. He wanted to show me a road trip. And think about it. Oh no, it couldn't really be just those two streets that are 200 yards apart. No, he must have meant, oh, he's in North Carolina. Oh, he's in the Piedmont Road. Oh, he just misspelled the name of the road. It's Mountain Laurel Lane, not Mountain Laurel Path. The computer is such a genius more than me. I'm just interpreting what's going on. So this is Florence Road. There's Mountain Laurel Path. Here's Street View. Oh, isn't that a nice fall view? Let's get rid of this. Now so we're facing the wrong way. You see, you look at this thing down here. We want to go the other way, right? Did I remember that correctly? All right. So this is October 2019. October. Okay. Our trees don't look like this in October yet. This must be up north. Now, oh, look at that bush. Isn't it beautiful? Now, oh, wait a minute. Now this is October 2019. September 2013. Did you see how it changed? How are we going to find exactly where this? I want to see the electrical pole. Let's look at the features. There's a curve in the road. I once went into a computer store in Raleigh when I first moved to North Carolina. The company, the chain doesn't exist anymore. And I remember talking to a guy and he seemed like, I asked him if he had some kind of like military background because of the way he acted. He said yes, and I asked him what he did in the military. Because I just wanted to see how it would fit with him selling electronic parts and computers. And he said that one of his assignments in the military, which was his actual job, was in supply chain depot, like where do you park all the tanks? But he said officers like himself with a college education had an additional duty, and his was like every week or 2 weeks, he would receive something in the mail, and it was satellite photos. Now, back at that time, this is why I was intrigued. I was a part-time technician in the Mountain Cloud Chemistry program up on Mount Mitchell, 6,840 something feet. And one time we went out and we put markers on the roads and paths, big X's, because we had scheduled a Landsat pass to take photographs of the ridge up there as part of the research project. So he said that like every week or 2 weeks, whatever, he would get an envelope with satellite photos, a couple of them, and his job was to assess whether in the views, he always got the same view, somewhere on the surface of the earth, not in the United States, whether anything had changed. So they didn't have computers doing the kind of stuff they do now. They used people who were in the military who they thought were smart enough that they would have an ongoing secondary assignment to do satellite reconnaissance. And you have to understand that by doing it to people who are dispersed around, they have no idea what the project really after. Compartmentalization. Okay, so it's like that. We're looking at this picture that was published on a television station today. Some photographer was there. We can see the pole fell over. It's not a tree, but I can see there's a lot of trees around. And I'm looking even at the lines, thinking about, because I've really paid attention to the way the electrical stuff is being done here now, because it's being renewed. And I'm puzzled by this, so I want to see what it actually looks like if I was driving a car. I'm like the guy at the computer store that used to be in the military that gets the envelope, only I've got Street View. But now it's September 2013. Now, what did we say the landmarks were? Do you remember? See, my mind wandered. What are the a curve. There's a curve in the road. What else? There's a fire hydrant. There's a mailbox. There's some kind of fence here with a driveway or something. And there's these telephone poles on the same side, on the outside of the curve. This is 2019. Do you see how it changed back again? Can you figure out what it's doing? Oh, wait a minute. There's a fire hydrant here. There's a mailbox. There's a curve. And there's a fence. Let's go a little further and see if there's another hydrant. Now, in a way, this looks very rural. So how far would we go to see another hydrant? Road legally closed, use at your own risk. Road work ahead. That's like the stuff out here yesterday. I don't see any hydrant. Do you see a hydrant? I don't see a hydrant down into the distance. So I'm wondering why that hydrant was there. Oh, don't you like that? Oh, this is the first time I'm seeing that. Do you like that house? That reminds me of a house I saw in North Carolina in the early 2000s when I was on the road for highway historical markers, and there's a junk car parked there. But this is 2019 October. There's a mailbox there. There's a curve ahead. Here's the curve. Here comes the fire hydrant. There's the fire hydrant. There's the fire hydrant. The fire hydrant's ahead, except that the view in the picture that was published is from back a little bit. A little bit closer. A little bit closer. There we go. There's the fire hydrant. That's the pole that fell over, this one right here. That's the one that fell over. See the fence? See the fence? Pole that fell over, mailbox, fire hydrant. Now this is a compressed view, and then there's a pole down there. This is the one that fell over, and the next one is pretty far down the road. So this is a main pole. And what do we see? No, it's not going to do a half turn for me. Let me go past it. There's a slope off to the house there. There's big tree here. This was 2019, and if see this tree right here? It's bigger now. And this tree back here, this one here, that's this one here. And this pole is being braced this way, and it's leaning that way. You know what I think? Now remember, I'm like that guy that gets the photos every week, 2 weeks. Has anything changed? He's helping to do analysis. You know what I think? I think the reason why the pole fell over is because the water line that's under here, you see where the hydrant is? There's the hydrant. There's the next one. See it? Let's find the next one. There it is. Look at how far we had to go. I know why the pole fell over. Do you know? Put it in a comment before I tell you. I'll trust that you weren't cheating. Did you just see the one that we went by? Do you see how far apart they are? Now, we're coming up to the curve. This water line underground sprung a leak. It sprung a leak. And that's why the pole fell over. That's why the pole fell over. Because it sprung a leak. See, I'm doing what that guy would do. Has anything changed? Can you see anything that we need? Because you look at this all the time, that's why they want. That's why he would always get the same view. He's looking at it for a couple of years going, always looking at the same view. I've never seen this view before, but as I look at it and analyze it, the answer is the fire hydrant right there. That line's been underground for years, and I'll give you an example of my experience when I lived in Raleigh, as an example, on a hill across from a middle school. When the fire hydrant line sprung a leak and created a sinkhole right out in front. That's what happened. Steve A. before you, just letting his mind wander and brainstorming, figuring it out. Saying see you in 73.